My name is Indy Anna Bones. I'm an archaeologist, explorer, adventurer, cryptozoologist, street art expert, and friend to pigeons. Join the adventure as I explore mysterious places, forgotten history, and track down unknown creatures. For today's adventure, I'm headed somewhere I don't normally go. Deep underground. I've seen a lot of graveyards, but this one may be the most unique. Welcome to Paris, the city of love. That is a very recent nickname. While the smell of roses and romance are in the air of Paris now, the city had a very different odor in 1750. Rotting human corpses. Paris has been an important city for a very long time. This means that many important people have died here, and many much less important people have died with and around them. Their corpses, millions of them, were rested layer upon layer within the city's graveyards until what were once protective walls had become great bowls full of festering human soup. It was said you could smell Paris before you could see it. There was a great public outcry in 1774 after a collapsed wall filled the basement of a home with bones and stinking earth. The French were still called Gauls when the Romans taught them how to excavate limestone mines for construction material that was far superior to wood. At the time, those mines were very far from the settlement that would one day be called Paris. As both grew, they eventually overlapped each other, and the results were disastrous. The tunnels made the ground above so unstable that to this day there is still only one skyscraper in the entire Paris metro area, and Parisians hate it. 1774 was not a good year for Paris. Not only were cemetery walls collapsing, but so were the roads. Sinkholes had been opening for some time as the weight of heavy stone buildings broke apart the fragile limestone honeycomb below. On December 17th of 1774, a collapse near the coincidentally named Rue d'Enfer, aka the Street of Hell, caused so much damage that the public demanded a solution. That began the long process of mapping, shoring up, and reinforcing the vast network of tunnels twisting beneath the city. They became known as the Catacombs. Backfill from the mining operations was packed in against the existing tunnel walls and sealed with plaster. Dates from the original operations can still be seen today. Some workers fell in love with the darkness and became obsessed with exploring. They are called cataphiles, and they wander through the darkness even today, continuing a process that is still not complete 250 years later. Cataphiles sometimes tap power from the grid above to hold secret movies and raves in the larger chambers. In September of 2004, Parisian police discovered a cinema and an adjoining bar and restaurant in an uncharted passage beneath the capital's 16th arrondissement. The patron saint of the cataphiles is a man called Dacor, who died right here in 1782. Dacor was a prisoner during the 7 Years' War. When he came home, he got a job as one of the first inspectors, sent in to begin mapping the catacombs. He fell in love with the maze and spent all his free time down in the darkness. From memory, he carved sculptures from the rock, depicting his view from time spent in his cell at an English fort on the island of Minorca. Paris still had issues. More than 2,000 years worth of stinking human bodies that needed to go somewhere, And the tunnels needed to be fortified. The problems seemed to answer themselves. The process was already in place. When you break down a human body and depersonalize it, we're all just a jumble of large and small bones, not so different from the mining debris that was being used to build new walls. The bones of Paris were collected in baskets and dumped down this well that today opens into the gift shop. Fingers and toes, vertebrae and ribs were all swept up into piles and packed around the columns and weak walls. Skulls and heavy limb bones were stacked tightly to seal the backfill. This is the ossuary. Toothless skulls stare out like grim artwork between the nub ends of femurs. 6 million dead Parisians were buried here. There was no possible way to account for who was buried where, so the bones were arranged by churchyard, so families could still come and visit the right person. Tell me about your Halloween adventures in the comments below.
I'll be there to guide you into the great unknown. The great unknown. The great unknown. 'Cause I bear witness. I won't let you go unseen. When everyone looks away, unsure of what to do or say, I see you.
Dates from the I just hit rewind on my mouth.